Good morning, everyone. This is Saundra and Charles from PayrollCentric. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have our loyal participants. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And welcome to Kirsten. Thanks for joining us today, Kirsten, our newest member of the PayrollCentric family. Today,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Today, Charles is going to be talking about running reports for workers' comp audits. It seems to be a timely topic. We have lots of companies calling us saying, what do I do now? What do I need? I need reports that go from a certain time to a certain time. And Charles is going to show you the simple and easy way to get there. One of our core values at PayrollCentric is ease. And we want to make sure that what you do on your side is easy for you. So make sure that you listen today, and we will definitely be taking care of your answers to your questions. With Charles, please take it away.
Thank you, Saundra, for that wonderful introduction. She does great introductions. I love this. So anyway, so yes, this is around the time of year that we get a lot of requests for workers' comp audit. You'll want, most of them say, we need a payroll report without actually, that's what the workers' comp people tell them, we need a payroll report. Of course, as you've been doing payroll, you know that there's quite a few reports in payroll, but what they're specifically looking for is, say, the itemization of what everybody made during that period. You know, how much was regular pay, overtime, vacation, that kind of thing. And they're also looking for tax returns. And so the tax returns that they usually look for are the state and the federal. Now, those are ones that we find in the documents section and then going under tax documents. And of course, we're in our demo section, so these are not real returns, but we'll click on one to pull it up and see what they have in there. Now, when I'm pulling this up, it's completely empty. But what you would see here is you would see the returns for that tax period that are in alphabetical order by state. So Arizona would come before California. California comes before the federal, which is under F. And then, of course, Florida would come after federal, that kind of thing. So when they ask you for these, they'll say, we want the 941. That's the federal form. That is the quarterly payroll tax return for the feds. They'll ask for things, if it's California, they'll ask for the DE9 and the DE9C. Those are two returns that go together. One is basically the cover page for the quarterly tax return for the state of California, and the other one, the DE9C, that is the one that is showing you each individual employee and their taxable income for California state income tax. Of course, here, because this is our demo page, we don't have any returns to show, but you'll see that they are organized by the end date of that particular quarter. So 12/31, 9/30, 6/30, and then 3/31. Now, so of course, 4 quarters in a year. Now, what will happen is that the returns may not line up exactly with your policy period. So in that case, you may need a fifth to cover that leeway time, right? The time between the end of the quarter or the beginning of a quarter and the policy period for your workers' comp. So you may want to do 5 instead of 4 just to cover all bases. And then what they may ask you for is a couple of payroll reports that reflect the pay that the employees got, both for the policy period and then for, like, say, the month at the beginning or the end of the policy period to line it up with the tax returns. They may ask for that. Now, how do you run that report? That would be coming under reporting. Now, we do have workers' comp reports, and I can bring them up by just typing in the title here, workers' comp. And, well, not works comp, but workers comp, and hit search, and you will see these workers comp reports in here. These are most effective if you have provided us with your policies information, your classification codes, or otherwise known as the workers comp codes, and the rates for each one. And those rates will be different between states. Your insurance carrier will tell you this is the rate for this code in this state, that kind of thing. Now, again, as I said, it's most effective if you have that information provided to us. You provide us that information at the beginning of each policy period. If we don't have that information, then when you try to run these reports, they'd probably end up being blank. So what do you do if we don't have that information, if you've never provided it to us, and all you're looking for is how much everybody's getting paid? Is the labor distribution report. And so search. Now, we have two different ones, the HCR, which has fewer editing options and runs quicker. And then we have the labor distribution that has more options in it. And I'm going to use that one here to show you a new option. Because now it looks like some states, especially California, are becoming more stricter with the 1099 requirements. They got the independent contractors. And so some workers' comp providers are asking for the 1099 information as well. How do you get that information in here? Well, first, what we're going to go over is say how you set this up for any policy period. So you can do that if it lines up with like the year. It's easy to just use the previous year. But if you want to line up specifically with the policy period, you would click on override dates in this date section, and then use the custom begin date and custom end date fields. So let's say it's from February 1st of 2022 to February 1st of 2023. And yes, you can just type it in. It does appear red when you type it in. That's okay. And then you're going to scroll down to the section where it's going to be sorting in subtotals. Now, you can set it just to name only and run the report, and that's fine. But in this case, I'm going to show you how you would run it to separate the 1099s from the W-2s in case your workers' comp plan provider requests it. So we're just going to go ahead and click on Custom Sort. And then in the groups with the totals, we're going to have it go do totals by tax form. And that will tell it, you'll have your 1099s all together, then you'll have your W-2s all together. And then we'll go ahead and do page breaks after totals to make it easy. And then we're going to do tax form for subtotals. And then by, let's see here, employee ID, yes. No, employee name, sorry. Now I'm going to go back up because I just realized that we have not run anything in this period for our temp company. So I'm just going to go in and use dates that it did run for. So let's say from 10/27/2016 to an applicable date in here. Well, we don't have anything in 10/20. We don't have anything in October for like an annual, but we do have the last date before outside of the policy period is 5/25. So what I'm doing here is I'm running it for everything that's within the policy period. So if I said from the middle of October in 2016 to the middle of October in 2017, I'm using the 5/25 because we didn't run it for anything. Now I could just go in here also and type it in differently. So 10/1/2016 to 10/1/2017, right? And so this part that's easy, the custom begin date, because they will tell you the pay period. You just type in the dates and run it for everything in between. So I've got this all set up and I'm ready to go. Now, what else do I want to do? Oh, yes, I want to go into the additional options and have it show tax forms as well. And then I can do something else specifically so I don't have to go through as much editing next year, is I can put in the saved company reports, labor distribution for workers' comp audit. And next year, all I would have to do is edit the dates. And so I'm going to hit Save Settings to save it. And then I'm just going to run the report. And it will pop up like this. Important thing to note, we do recommend Google Chrome for your browser and to have pop-ups enabled because that causes it to pop up like this rather than having to go to My Completed Reports and retrieve it there. Either way, it does run, but this saves you an additional step. And so now we see here what we have. We have, let me zoom in. we have the 1099 NECs, right? We had one, $40, right? And then we had another one. So we had 44 hours at $40 because this one had 40 hours but wasn't paid. But it gives you the total for 1099 NEC, non-employment contractor. You have all that. It's one page. It gives you the total. And because we marked it to do a page break after the totals, you have that all on one page. You have the totals on one page, and then you go to your W-2s. You go through and you see everything that's in here, all their hours, right? And this is the information they're looking for, because when they're they're doing their policies, what they want to look at is how much they earned for workers' comp applicable pay, which is when they work. So a vacation wouldn't count for it. Holiday wouldn't count for it, but regular pay, overtime, anytime they actually did work, that would count. And that's how they see it in here. And because we list the overtime separately, if there were any, then that would tell them how many hours they worked, and they would use that to calculate how much the premiums should be. And then we get the total down here at the bottom. All right, this is the total for the entire report, but the total for the tax W-2s is right here. So it's a clean report to give to them. If they ask for the 1099 people, it tells them this is the 1099. Everything is good, and you have completed your requirement for the audit. And then if we go back to Dash and we click on Saved Company Reports, I have a few reports in here, so let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, those are different ones, but the one that I did was, let's see here, labor distribution for workers' comp audit. And this is the one because it was not the hard-coded report. So I found it here. So you do want to make a distinction in your Saved Company Reports. If you've been running these, you do want to make sure that the name is distinct so you know what it's for. But I can just go back to this report, click on it, and I just changed the dates for next year. And that's basically it. That is all normally that we have when we have the requests, is to run these reports. Like I said, they may ask for a particular month, in which case you would go back to this report and just change the dates for that month, and that would be it. And so I'm ready for any questions.
Wow, that was quick and easy, wasn't it? Isn't it wonderful that a report can run so easily and so quickly when some companies get a little anxious about having to do a workers' comp audit? And we've got it all figured out for you. And I love the fact, Charles, that you distinguished it by tax form. So the 1099s are separated out, and that is distinguished between the W-2. And the fact that we have the ability to do it that way for you is wonderful. And also the way you've saved the report for next year so that you or maybe a predecessor will be able to go in and run that report already formatted. If you have any adjustments, maybe your workers' comp auditor says, no, I really need it to look like this. You can change it to what you want it to show, what order it has to be in. And if you need some help, all you have to do is call our support line and speak with your customer service rep or your payroll rep, who can help you get it done. Wow. Perfect, Charles. I don't see any questions in the chat. Yes, I do. Where do I enter the workers' comp information in the system? Amanda, that's a great question. Charles, you want to show us?
Absolutely. Now, first thing you would do is you would need to send us the policy information. Like I said, the workers' comp class codes, what states those are for, and what the rates are for those states. And then we set that up in the system. We basically attach those in the system so that they're able to be selected by you. Once we have them in there, we want to click. You would find them by clicking on employee, by selecting your employee. In this case, I'm going to pick Johnny Appleseed. And then you go to department position, just click on that, and it's right here, this field right here. Okay, and then now the thing is, when we set it up, we set up this code, and then we tell the code what states it has and what the rates are for those states, and it will determine that based on the work state of the employee. So you don't have to worry about here which state this code is. This code is for all states, but it applies the correct rate to the employee's work state. Okay. And then, the other thing to remember is that these rates change from policy period to policy period. So whenever your policy period is going to expire, they should be sending you a new list of rates, and you would forward that to us. And then we would then be able to set that up for the next policy period, and you'd be good to go. And then the other thing is we can do is, if you have that, we can set it up so that you're required to enter the workers' comp code when you're adding a new employee, and also make it a audit item so that when you are trying to submit the payroll, it'll tell you if someone is missing one. So we have those tools. So when we're tracking this, to be able to help you calculate your premiums and so forth, that will enable you to keep this clean, to have fewer errors or issues.
Good to know. The other reason why you might want to submit your workers' comp document to us is if you are looking to improve your rate or improve your premium. We do offer workers' comp insurance, and Josephine in our company is the expert to do that. So if you would like us to review your policy to see if your rates are proper and see if you are getting the best possible bottom line for your budget, please do that. Send us the first couple of pages of your policy, put workers' comp quote in the subject line along with your account number, as always, and send it to PayrollCentric, and we'll send it off to Josephine, and she'll get back to you right away. Something to think about as we look at our budgets for the year, trying to save money wherever we can. And Josephine's really good at that. Okay. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Let's talk about next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about timekeeping, meal and rest period overviews. And then I'm going to give you a really high level look at the timekeeping system if you don't have the system that is offered by PayrollCentric. Some of you are restaurants and you've got point of sale systems. And so it works, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? But we do have a way that if you do have a POS system, that if you run a report, you can submit it to us and we'll have a look at it to see if it's compatible with our payroll system. And that might save you some time in processing your payroll. It can be uploaded into the payroll processing point where all you have to do is review the hours to make sure it's accurate. So you've got some choices. You've got our timekeeping system. There's other timekeeping systems out there, but I like ours best. I wonder why. And then we also have the ability to communicate with your POS system, assuming that it's compatible with Dash. So you've got some options there, saving time, and remember ease, one of our company mottos and one of our company, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the words we have, compliance, ease, and care is what we want. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Be sure to join us next week for a timekeeping overview and talking about the meal and rest period breaks. There are new rules that are applied to that. And Charles is going to be our expert presenter at that time as well. Remember, this is your webinar. If you have topics you would like us to cover, please let me know. My email is in the chat. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all and a few more next week. Thank you for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.